And welcome back, Pewter Power. Mike Deem, Joe Bell, and we are going on to the midseason report. Since there was no game to talk about last week, we're going to go over, and Joe's going to give you his insights as to what we could have done good, or we did do good, or could have done better, during the midseason.
Well, we know where we are right now. We know that the New Orleans Saints are 5-3. They haven't had their bye week yet. So Tampa Bay is 4-3. Atlanta's 4-3. And Carolina's 2-6. So Carolina kind of out of the picture for the division at this point, kind of done for them.
Still could be a spoiler, though.
Tampa and Atlanta gained a huge benefit by them losing to St. Louis last week. So both teams are within one game. Yep. They're actually a half a game behind, if you'd want to call it that,
right,
because they haven't played that 8th game yet, in the old baseball terms. I'm learning the baseball terms. Half a game behind. So the problem we have is that Mike's phone is not off. So we're going to stop for that for 1 second.
I just did.
So he took care of it.
We're good.
We have to talk about that specifically because now Tampa can win this game, go to 5-3.
Right.
And New Orleans will be 5-4 if they win the game. And they'll have definitely a huge advantage over New Orleans beating them twice. Well, so that's a big deal for that.
Let's talk about what's happened from week 8 back, okay? We've had some ups and downs, okay? We've had some good times and some bad times, as you always say in the NFL. One of the biggest keys to me is that the rookies, some of the rookies are stepping up.
Yep, and if you want to pull, we have a little slide we can put up for some of the people we are talking about. My midseason review is that my favorite 2 rookies are Adrian Claiborne and Mason Foster, and we're going to talk about why in a second. And my MVP and your MVP to this point we've talked about every week is Michael Conan, the kicker and the punter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And my big problems in the first half are Josh Freeman and Aqib Talib. So we're going to talk about all 3 of those. Let's start with the rookies first off.
Okay.
Adrian Claiborne has had a huge year as a rookie, as a defensive end. I am very pleased where he's at. He's done a great job. He's been coached well, and he's taken the coaching very well, I think is an easy way to say that. He's had 3 sacks, 16 tackles, 2 for a loss, and he's forced a fumble. And he has hurried the quarterback regularly during each of the games. He has been in the backfield pressuring the quarterback.
Yeah, he's needed on the defensive front. He's done well with it.
Tampa Bay has done the right things in drafting in the defensive line, and probably 2 years from now, Tampa Bay is going to have the best defensive line in the NFL.
I agree.
All first and second round players, and great first and second round players.
Right.
Secondly is Mason Foster. Now this kid, he has only played probably 5 total games because he's missed part of the last 3 due to an injury to his leg.
His ankle.
But listen to this. 42 tackles, 2 for a loss, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. And that's not even playing full time. And at middle linebacker, which by far is the most difficult position on the defense to play for any team.
Yeah, calling the plays and taking over for Barrett Ruud, who had a team high tackle last year, and they got rid of Barrett. But he is much quicker, much faster in the pass defense, okay, and can make the plays in stopping the gaps quicker than Barrett Ruud can. Barrett would actually stop the guy 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, whereas Mason's getting inside and stopping for a 1 yard or 2 yard gain.
Or a loss.
And
he's done a great job at getting to the line of scrimmage very quickly and getting to the outside against these tight ends and against these
which
inside
is a big part
receivers,
of the offense this year.
Which has been a big problem. The Tampa 2, they really don't play anymore. They've kind of gone to man with a mix of the Tampa 2 in there. With him being so fast in the middle, it gives them a great new opportunity, and especially with Tanar Jackson coming back and after 2 games already having 2 interceptions, even though he only played half a game.
Yes.
The second game.
Definitely.
My MVP so far this year, by far, is kicker Michael Conan.
Okay.
No question. They paid $19 million for this young man. They stole him from the Atlanta Falcons. Hallelujah. 5-year contract. Our kicking game is set at this point for the next 5 years, barring an injury.
Right.
This guy has been perfect so far this year. He really hasn't done much wrong. He's averaged 46.3 yards per punt gross, 42.7 net, which is awesome. 15 punts inside the 20 and 0 touchbacks. Do you know how hard it is to punt?
On the punts.
On every single game and not have a touchback?
Right.
He drops that ball inside the 5, and I give it to the special teams
to be covering
because they have found a way to get down there. He kicks the ball very high, forcing them to catch the ball so the ball doesn't end up on the 1.
Right.
Normally, every single time he's kicking, we have a player already standing at the 1 yard line waiting for that ball to come down. And they are forced to catch that ball between the 10 and the 4 to make sure that ball doesn't get to them on the 1.
And kudos to the special teams coaches for hammering that down.
And that's huge. That's a huge thing, field position for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And It's actually what's kept them in games they probably should have lost, but they ended up winning this year. So some of those wins come specifically from field position.
Field position is definitely key in the NFL.
For the first year in decades, Tampa Bay is actually winning field position, except against the San Francisco 49ers, which they had nothing.
That was an abomination.
But that was their one hiccup. My rough first half goes to Josh Freeman and Aqib Talib. Now, Josh Freeman's had 10 interceptions in 7 games. He only had 6 all last year. I think his problem more is that he is forcing the football into areas it doesn't need to go. A la the old Brett Favre days. We talked about it on the radio show this morning. You know, Brett Favre threw it wherever. But he also made huge plays to make up for those.
Right.
You know, and right now, Tampa's not making those huge plays to make up for the bad interception passes they're getting later in the game. And part of that is they have no running game because, of course, they had no LeGarrette Blount and they lost Ernest Graham. So they were in a bad position last
Mike
time.
Williams hasn't stepped up. He's having a sophomore year. Okay, he's
slumping.
He's slumping big time. He's dropped a lot of balls. Okay, and they're double teaming him, of course. But I think that's one of the reasons why. But you know, also you look at Josh Freeman last year. He led the quarterbacks in rushing, 356 yards. He's got 109 yards this year.
Yeah, very
What
nice.
is different on that? We're not sure what that is. But
I know what it is. He's forcing the football in. That's why he's throwing so many interceptions. He needs to get out of the pocket like he's very good at and like he was great at Kansas State. Get out of the pocket, give your receivers some time to get open, throw the ball.
Are the defenses game planning for them a little bit? You know, maybe,
they are.
Maybe making the rushes inside so he can't get out of that.
Yeah, they are.
gaps.
They're pushing to the outside and forcing him up the middle, which is the only place he can't really run.
Yeah.
And my worst player so far this year is Aqib Talib. And I'm sorry, he has just been
It's mental.
very
I think
bad.
it's mentally for him is just not there all the way.
Maybe all his off-field problems are getting in the way. But he's had penalties at the worst possible time. That penalty against Chicago at the end of the game was totally uncalled for.
Yeah. And
probably lost the game for them. I guarantee it lost the game for them.
Right.
They did not have enough time that they would have had in the timeouts they would have had if that hadn't happened.
Well, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the New Orleans Saints coming out, and we're going to go at New Orleans in the Superdome. Okay, a tough place to play, very loud. Okay, and it's going to be a difficult game just because New Orleans is coming off of this loss and they're playing at home.
So they're a little aggravated.
And they are a little PO'd.
So we're going to come back. We're going to talk New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to bring it. So come right back.